Hello everyone and welcome to the program. I'm Sheung Okinbaloye. Let me quickly bring you updates on the elections held in Osun State and in the FCT conducted by Nigeria's electoral organ, INEC, over the weekend. Results are still being collected in the FCT council elections which held on Saturday in the nation's capital. The turnout is said to be low, but the security for the exercise is said to be very impressive. Observers say there were little hitches recorded in terms of logistics, while the card reader devices posing problems in some areas, but largely did not pose a major failure. The conduct of the exercise is said to be largely peaceful, and most of the centers open early for voting. Let's switch over now to Osun State as we await the FCT council result. In Osun State, the results have been announced and winner declared in the by-election into the state constituency of Ife Central. Dipo Eluwale of the People's Democratic Party has been declared winner after polling a total of 5,504 votes. The exercise was declared inconclusive on Saturday, but was finalized on Sunday. It is indeed a keenly contested election if you look at the votes amongst the contenders that we're showing you right now on your screen. Well, now, it is no doubt a most critical moment in Nigeria's history. Some say it is Nigeria's last chance of rising above its major setbacks of the past decades. With the APC-led central government, which rolled to victory on the back of change mantra, Nigerians perhaps are now impatiently waiting for the delivery of the promised change agenda. After the 2015 general elections, a lot changed in the Nigerian political sphere. The opposition became the ruling party and the then ruling party switched roles. For democracy to thrive, a viral opposition party or viral opposition activity is key. Where are the opposition parties in Nigeria at the moment? Are they doing their jobs? And is the ruling party accommodative enough to allow the interplay of opposition parties in the polity? Joining me at this time is the presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party NCP in the 2015 general election and a petroleum engineer, Martins Onovo. Many thanks for coming on the program, Mr. Onovo.
Thank you very much.
One will be wondering, after the 2015 general elections, a lot of opposition parties came up, but it looks like they're nowhere to be found.
I'm not sure I know exactly what you mean by they're nowhere to be found, because after election, even whether you are in opposition or you're the ruling party, everybody's exhausted. That's the first thing. But thereafter, I think everybody has recovered. Most parties have had their conventions, activities are normal, their positions are known. I don't see any lull. I don't see any lull. The peak of political activity is elections. So we are off peak.
So,
but that doesn't
without mean elections, there are not supposed to be political activity?
No, what I said, the peak of political activities is election.
But it looks like opposition parties are asleep at the moment.
No, that cannot be true. What criterion have you used to come to that conclusion?
Are you satisfied with opposition parties'
yes,
activities as we speak?
Our positions are very clear. I can speak for the National Conscience Party and so many of the other parties that
I've not really heard so much about your party in the recent days or weeks since after the elections and results were declared. Well,
that will not be true, because we had our 52nd NEC meeting in Abuja. After that, we addressed a press conference on our positions. Since then, the leadership of the party has been in communication with the Nigerian people using several different platforms, including your own. So I'm surprised that you say that.
You know, the reason why a lot of people are asking the question is that, of course, the ruling party, most of the times, they're not God, they're not perfect, they may not be getting things right. But people are asking a big question that, isn't this the time that opposition parties should be talking to the ruling party, should be advising the ruling party, should be making their stands known about major economic issues? There is fuel scarcity across the nation. We've not heard, as a party, come forward with its position on the lingering fuel scarcity.
Clearly, very, very clearly. For example, just last Sunday, that's 7 days ago, the NCP was on the full page in a national newspaper explaining why we're where we are, and how we can get out of it, which is the duty of an opposition party. An opposition party is not supposed to support a government unless it is invited to support it. The opposition party is the alternative to the ruling party. So what the opposition party is supposed to do in a democracy is show an alternative position, which is exactly what we're doing. We have explained on several media, I just cited one for you, which was just last Sunday. A full page. So when you say we are silent, we're not silent. We're all over the place. But it depends on who you also want to listen to. If you don't want to listen to us, you can claim that we're silent.
You think Nigerians are satisfied with opposition interplays in Nigeria?
Oh, clearly. Oh, clearly.
Really?
Yes, because we get feedback. People tell us that this is excellent. This is what the ruling party should have been doing. We get feedback. That's normal communication.
But maybe there is not enough pressure on the ruling party. Or is your party,
it's not about pressure.
Your party satisfied with what is happening in the nation at the moment?
We're completely dissatisfied and we have communicated that.
On the fuel scarcity, what's the position of your party on that?
It's very simple. There is no reason for this fuel scarcity. No justifiable reason for this fuel scarcity. This is very basic. This is the simplest thing a government can do. On this same your platform, Channels TV, we came here and we made our comments on the budget. We disagreed with it fundamentally. We said why, and we gave alternatives. We proposed our own position. So when you say we are silent, we don't have to go engage them. Elections are over. It's no longer contentious. They have a tenure.
Is there any, you think it's not contentious when Nigerians' lives, when the economy of Nigeria, the future of Nigeria is at stake, and you think it's not contentious?
No, what you're supposed to do, be very clear.
Are you living?
Listen, we're not the media to report news. That's not our role. Our role is to offer the Nigerian people an alternative. And that's very clear, just like I explained to you. We came here, we said, this budget is a budget of ruination. This is why it's a budget of ruination. This is what the ruling party could have done. This is what we would have done if we were in power. You want us to engage in militancy? What are you talking about? That's our role. It's intellectual.
Mr. Onovo, and that's the reason why we are engaging you today. Just
excellent. But don't turn around and blame us.
No, we're not blaming you. This is a question. I'm just posing questions to you, and that's my duty here.
No, this
to
is
ask
our
you
role
questions.
To show the alternative.
For example, you talked about the budget, and
yes,
you said it's a budget of ruination.
Clearly.
What do you mean?
For example, with that budget, directionally, you are sure we're going to end up in a debt crisis very soon. What is the present debt level? It's almost $70 billion, total local and foreign debt. And the government has gone around the world very proudly advertising that he wants to borrow. That is a foreign policy demarketing program. To go around and be announcing very proudly that you want to borrow money. That's number one.
What would you have done? No, in that sense, let's break down the issue.
Hold on.
What would, just a moment. What would you have done?
You just asked one question.
Yeah, we need to break it down.
Can I exhaust that?
Just a moment.
Okay.
Just a moment. You talked about borrowing, and
yes,
you said they shouldn't have borrowed, or they shouldn't have advertised that they're going to borrow. What should they have done in
there are two errors.
When you don't have money?
There are two errors. The first error is going to borrow. The second error is being proud of it. The third error is advertising it. Like you discovered the cure for AIDS. Something you should be proud of, something you should be ashamed of, you turn it to something you're very proud of. You are announcing all over the world, we're going to take loans, we need loans, we're broke. Is this what you're proud to say as an individual about your family?
If the nation's economy is at the state at which it is right now, and the mainstay of the nation is the economy is not bringing the returns as it should be compared to 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and you don't have the monies to meet the demands of the economy, what would you do, Mr. Onovo?
What you're going to do, the right thing to do in this context, which we have explained before, is very simple. Control corruption, manage waste, prioritize. Don't lead yourself to a debt crisis.
Even if you can afford it.
Listen, you cannot afford it. Because if you could afford it, you will be in the terrible debt situation we are right now. Even without the new laws, we're in a terrible debt situation where you're using over 1 trillion for debt servicing. Excuse me, sir. In what situation is Greece now with its debt crisis? You don't want to end up in a debt crisis. This government, if it is not controlled, will run Nigeria to a debt crisis. Why are you proud of borrowing? Go and tell your family that you're proud of borrowing. Then borrow all the money you can. Were you not taught in primary school that he who goes a borrowing goes a sorrowing? Why are you proud to borrow? General Obasanjo, when he was a chief doctor, when he was a president, managed the debt situation that he met, which was very precarious, and got out of a debt burden. And then this new government wants to happily and joyfully, and you are clapping, plunge us into another debt crisis. Do you know how we got out of the last one? We bailed out with $12-point-something billion in cash.
Mr. Novo.
In cash.
Mr. Novo.
In cash.
The United States of America borrows almost at every term.
That's correct.
Is that too also wrong?
No. Look at the size of the economy. Did they have a debt crisis? Did they ask for a debt relief? Have they ever asked you for a debt relief? Did they borrow from you? Why do you always misrepresent clear facts?
No, it's just a question. And Nigeria
can borrow. Have I ever borrowed in my life? Yes. But was I proud? No. Have I paid? Yes, because I have capability. So
Nigeria does not have the capability to pay back.
Look at the facts.
Does the nation have the capability from your own perspective? Does Nigeria have the capabilities to pay back its present proposition to borrow?
Let me answer you very simply. When did you get to this debt situation? Would you have got here if you had paid off? If after General Obasanjo bailed us out of our debt situation
and was written off,
some was written off, but we paid some. It wasn't free.
Absolutely.
We paid over $12 billion in cash. Okay? So debt has never been a good thing. But if you're in a bind, you can borrow. Are we really in a bind? The debt you're talking about, we are borrowing nearly 40% of the budget. And we're investing only 30% on infrastructure. So we're borrowing to fund our wastage.
And that's for you is what?
The budget of ruination. Ruination.
Is there any credit you would give to the government of the day about the budget?
About the budget? Oh no.
100% ruination.
Oh no.
100%.
There is nothing good about that budget. The mere fact that every objective Nigerian, both in the opposition and the ruling party, and I can cite example, Oshomole, for example, believes and has published everywhere, he's in the ruling party, that the recurrent expenditure is full of waste. We know that for a fact. If you don't know that, it's either you're not interested in governance or you are just deliberately blind. Oshomole is a good example.
The governor of Edo State.
Governor of Edo State. He has said, we need to cut down on recurrent. But the recurrent is full of waste.
But compared to